Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I am just sorting the camera out, sorting all the stuff out. I am joined by Mitchell. How are you doing, Mitchell, after watching that?
I've calmed down a bit now. We had a nice hour and a half break, so I feel stimulated. I feel a bit calm. I had to take a few breaths to calm
Mm,
myself down, but I'm good. I'm all right.
yeah, I must admit, I done a little afterthought after, and I thought I sort of let it all out. And when I come to this, I'm more chilled now than than I was straight after
Yeah.
the game. I must admit. But let's get into it, mate. Starting off with this man. Give me a rating, Mitchell, for Fabianski. I thought he's very good today.
Um. Tough one. I'm gonna give him a 7. I think he done all right. Very good hands. Positioned himself
Mm,
very well. Unfortunately, I thought he let himself down big time for their second goal. I thought he should have done better.
mm.
Command, if it could come out quicker. Um. I think I think a better keeper. I think someone like a Nick Pope, a taller keeper, would just come out and try and claim that or position himself better. Um,
Mm,
yeah, there's no excuse. Like I think all the pro goalkeepers will tell you, Fabianski should have done better for that goal, and because of that, it became a tight game in the end. I'll give it a
mm.
7. I think 7 is fair.
Um, I think first half he was very good. I've got to say, I think he was keeping us in the game. At one stage, he done a couple of good saves. Benteke, him and Benteke, he was saving all the time from him. Um, the second goal for them, I think is shit defended. If I'm honest, I think it's more, I think it's more defensive than it is him. But let's be honest, Mitch. What can he do when he's got Diop and Dawson in front of him and
Yeah,
Masuaku at a fact? You know what I mean?
but it was in
Um,
such a dangerous area.
yeah.
Like it's hard for the goalkeepers. I mean, for the defenders to get that. If I'm being honest.
Mm, mm. I'm going to agree with you though. I think the seven's about right. I think he would have been an 8 if we'd have kept a clean sheet today. I think he would have
Yeah.
been very good, but 7 is about where we're at with Fabianski. Moving on to this man, Coufal, um, the best defender out of a lot of them, and I thought he was very good in the first half. Second half, he was okay-ish, but let's be honest, nothing really went down his side. It was all down the left-hand side. So give me a rating for Vladimir Coufal.
No, I'm gonna give him a 6. I think a 6 is about right. It might be harsh, but look, if you look
Mm,
at black and white, didn't get a clean sheet. His crossing stay was poor. Um, I thought he hoofed it up the pitch too many times for my liking, and it's went
mm.
back to the defenders. It's a bit wasteful. Um, Defensively was alright. I think the times he did have to. I think times he did have to defend. I wasn't entirely convinced that he was comfortable. It was a strange one. I think he was all right, but none of the defenders were great today. I thought Coufal was the best out of a bad bunch. For me, a 6 is where it's at for me.
Um, I think because he's the best one out of the lot, I'm going to give him a 7. I think I've got some ratings for the other defenders, and that's where it's going to get like X rated for me. Um, yeah, I think Cafal's a very very good defender. He amount of times he covered on the back post when our defenders were all over the place. Yeah, he gets a 7 for me. It's such an easy rating for me to give him a 7. Moving on to this man on the other side, Ben Johnson. Mitch, explain something to me, mate. You go home and away when you can. Yeah, you've seen West Ham live this season. You've watched this geezer live. First half, I thought he was very good. He got booked, but he was very, very good, Ben Johnson. Why did he get subbed at half time?
Now, so apparently it was either a knock, which I've heard about, or it was the fact that he was on a yellow card. Now, I kept watching him, and there was a lot of times he left a lot of space on that left on our left hand side for them to
Mm,
attack down the right. Now it
yeah.
was a strange one because I was looking at the way they attacked Palace, and Schlupp, who I think was their right-sided central midfielder today, went down the flanks a lot, but
Mm,
so did their right back and their right winger. So Johnson had to mark different players all the time. And Benrahma didn't know who to mark, didn't know to track. Sometimes he was tracking back for Ayew, who was their forward. But because the time Schlupp would cut in, that was when Johnson would mark Schlupp. So it was quite a weird way they played today, Palace. And to be honest, I don't think Johnson coped that well. If I'm being honest, I think going forward he started off really well. Yeah, in the first half he done well, which when he played, I thought he attacked well. Defensively, got done by Ayew a couple times. Obviously got the book in. And I tell you what, I said it at half time. I said it's one of those ones where Johnson is young. They found his his weakness actually was down at right hand side. They kept doing us constantly, time and time again. All their most dangerous attacks came from there. Big chances for them came down from there. So, and the fact that he was on the yellow card, it gave him a whole second half to have no mistakes in him whatsoever. And the fact that he already made a few defensive ones in the first half, for me, could be the reason why Moyes thought, you know what, I'd rather bring on Masuaku on the clean slate. It's one of, you know what, Masuaku, I don't think done too well. And obviously we'll talk about that in the substitutions, but I don't think he was great. For me, I'd give him a 5.
Oh, I don't know.
Actually, no, I don't know. Actually, no, 6. I'll give him a 6.
I'm going to give him a 7, mate. He's a right back who's playing left back. He's a right back who's playing left back.
I know that, but you judge him on his performance. It doesn't matter if they're playing whatever thing. I think you should judge him on their performance. For me, he got done a lot on that right hand side. And if those chances end up in goals, we would look back at it and say Johnson should have done better there.
Well, it was 3-0 up, and I'm just trying to remember. One of the goals come down his side. I remember that.
Yeah, and that's why I thought he'd done really well going forward.
Yeah. But I just think to myself, as a right back, he's a natural right back. I think at half time, I wasn't expecting him to be subbed. I was expecting him to come out, maybe subbed in about the 60th minute, but to sub him and bring off Masuaku, who we'll get onto later, who was a shower of crap, basically. Yeah, I've got to give him a 7. He was flawed. Hadn't conceded a goal. We was 3-0 up. He was cruising. He was defending okay. His defending wasn't great, but we had a clean sheet at half time. You know what I mean? So I can't really knock him. But you've gone for a 6. I've gone for a 7. Moving on to this man, who I have tried, Mitch, to back this geezer up, but I'm starting to lose patience with him. Give me a rating for him, mate, today, and your assessment.
You know what? I'm giving him 3. I think 3. He was a shower of shit. 2 goals. The 2 goals was his fault. The fact
why is he ducking? Because Jazza put it in my comments after when I've done my previous show, and he said that he ducked his head out of the way of the ball for I think it was the second goal. Why?
He did. Well, the first goal, yeah.
It was one of the goals, and why are you ducking your head when you're our centre half?
Plus, it was so far away from Edouard. It was like a big gap. It was like a big 2-metre gap between the both of them. It was nowhere near him. He had one marker, one job, and he couldn't do it. Let the ball go straight over his head. It's basics. And how many times are we going to say this with Diop? Like, oh, he's young. The basics will come with time if he's got the ability. The basics ain't sticking with him. They're not sticking with him. And a silly, stupid little foul to give away for the second goal. Straight for the back of him. Nobody near the ball.
Yeah.
There wasn't a big threat on. He could have just held back. I don't get it. Really poor from him.
I've got to agree with you there, mate. I'm going to go with a 3-0. That's being kind. I've tried to back this kid up for a long, long time, but he keeps letting me down. Really does. He's been here a long time. He should be leading by example, but he's. I don't think he's here next summer. I think this year is his last year at West Ham. I'll be shocked if he's playing the claret and blue shirt come August. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what's going on with him. I just don't think he's capable of defending the Prem. Every time he plays, he just don't look great. But
scary.
Yeah,
you're scared, aren't you? You're always scared.
Yeah.
Oh, gave the ball away to what was it? Gave the awful pass back. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. It's becoming an habit now. And where it was before, it was like, you know what, We hope he's going to come good. I'm looking at him now and I just don't see it. I hope he can prove me wrong, but I have backed this kid up. I've said, give him time, right? And I've been the famous, well, I've heard the Vlasic line, give him time, and I've been saying that for Diop, and he's been here 3 years. So, yeah, poor, absolutely poor. His defensive partner today, Craig Dawson, no better, in my opinion. I thought like that back pass was stupidity towards the end. Lucky to get he blagged that. A ball comes into the box. He's watching the ball, and Issa and him are looking at each other. They're like the two Ronnies. Do you know what I mean? They don't know what they're doing. Give me a rating for Craig Dawson, Mitch.
For his passing from the back again, time again, is the thing that lets him down the most, I think.
How many times, Mitch? How many times in that first half was he just oofing that ball up pitch?
Done it in second half. I mean, he needs to keep possession of the fucking ball, mate.
Yeah.
It really wound me up. And he's just slapped it over to the fucking corner flag. And honestly, that happened throughout the entire second half. We were just wasting balls. We was 3-0 up. We had to keep possession, control the game. No, we just absorbed the pressure. When we got the ball, we oofed it. That was so frustrating, and a lot of that came down to Craig. Defensively, I thought he'd done. I didn't think he'd done too bad, if I'm honest. I think 1-on-1 defending, he was right. I don't think it was a cause for any of the goals. I couldn't really blame him for any of the goals. Cleared a few headers quite well. I think a 5. I'm giving. I don't know. It's tough. I'm trying to think. I think 5. I think a 5.
Right, you're going for a 5. I'm going for a 4. Like I just read what Danny said, and I will get to your comments shortly, everyone. For me, if we win that game 3-0, he gets 6 or 7. I think it's pretty decent. Right, it's a good performance. To concede 2 goals like they did, the back pass, which could have went horribly wrong. The hoofing of the ball up the pitch in the first half and second half, as you say, right, was like pulling your hair out moments, isn't it? Like
he's cut out.
Yeah,
Too many players did.
It's like because that's like Bolton of like years ago. Like just get the ball, hoof it up the pitch. We're playing long ball basically. Yeah, I'll give him a 4. Him and Diop just ain't working well together. They're all over the place. They're not communicating. And one thing that I do remember is that cross into the box. I think they're forward at the free header. They're looking at each other and going, "Well, who's picking him up?" Like, and it's like, well, surely they must be talking amongst each other. I just think one of them speaks French all the way through, and one of them speaks English, and they just don't understand how to communicate. Yeah. There's a 4 from me on that. For
actually, before we go on any further, can I just say I think it's time for Les to come in now. I think maybe alongside Dawson. Give him a shot. I think we're conceding too many easy goals.
Thing is, though, maybe in the FA Cup, you can't put him in the league, can you? Can't put him against. Because if he gets ruined in the league, Mitch, then
Diop's getting ruined at the minute in every game.
I suppose so, but what it is, if you've got a player in there who you ruin as a youngster, then he could ruin his confidence for a long, long time. Let's be honest, his confidence.
The kid's 21 now. I think it's time that if you're going to be a future Premier League starter, then I think now is a time to test him out because 21's an age nowadays, or 20 or 21 years. It's the age now where the Premier League nowadays you need to start merging into the team.
I think the Leeds game, if you're going to do that, do it in the FA Cup. Like if you're going to do that.
Maybe it's a good shot. See how he performs then, and then maybe start him after that.
Then have a look at it that way. I think if you go and put him in the league, and he makes a mistake,
that's a good shot. Actually, that's a good shot.
The whole fan base will be on him. But moving on to this man, Thomas Soucek. I thought he had a bitty game today. Okay in spells, but not vintage. What was your assessment of Soucek today, mate?
Today was a game where I think we attacked quite well, quite sharp when we did. But when we tried to protect the lead, he just wasn't on it. Gave away, I think, 1 or 2 silly fouls, like needless silly fouls.
Yeah.
His passing wasn't the best. he hoofed it quite a few times as well. That infuriated me. Today wasn't really a game for Soucek. It was a game where we nicked a goal. It was a game where we, attacked better than Palace. We were more clinical.
Made
And
some
we just tried to
stupid
protect
fouls
it.
though, didn't he, Ovich, in the
He
first
did.
half?
He did. And look, for me, look, everyone can protect Soucek as much as they want. I still don't believe he's the right man next to Rice. Everyone could say, "Oh, Soucek should be the one getting forward. Rice should be the one sitting back." Today, Rice got forward, created a goal, and Rice is our best player. I don't have faith in Soucek at all for the future. I just think his on the ball ability is just so poor. For me today, he gets a 6.
Do you know what? Ever since I've met you, I've started doing YouTube stuff with you, and obviously I've met you for other people and everything. I've been listening to what you're saying about Soucek, and I've been sort of monitoring it myself. Like, 'cause I never used to see it. I used to think, you know what, he's done pretty decent. And I'll never forget what someone said last season. They said, "Do you know what? Apart from the goals, how is his play really?" And this year has proved it. Defensively, he's not very good. He's not as good as Rice. He'll never be as good as Rice, but going forward, he's good. But as a DM, he's not very good. He's not a very good DM. He's just like an attacking midfielder, really, if I'm honest.
Also, James, sorry to interrupt you, but also on the back of the Watford performance, all our fan base was saying, "What a performance from Soucek! That's how he should be playing." Now, if he didn't get that goal, would you have said that was a great performance from Soucek? No. And also, not just that, but if you ask the Watford fans, what do you think of Soucek today? They wouldn't have gone, he was great. They'd be like, he was okay. And for us to say that was his best performance of the season says a lot.
Yeah. I must admit, you are right in what you're saying. Personally, I think if you had someone who's an out-and-out DM, to say, for instance, you had a Basuma next to Rice, then you would see a massive difference. You'd see someone who's a natural DM.
We control the game a lot better, I think.
And his passing is a lot better than Soucek. I can't really knock Soucek fully because what he's done since he's come here in the last sort of 2 years, because he signed in January 2020, I think it was.
Yeah.
He's done a lot.
He's been in now. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's been here 2 years, so I can't knock him fully, but I must admit, he gave away some silly fouls around their box in the first half. And I'm thinking, Thomas, what are you doing, mate? Like, you're just all over the gaff. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to give him a 6. It's just not a 7 for me. I agree with what you said. It wasn't his game today, and I think others just outshone him. But it is a little bit of an issue there when it ain't going particularly great. Moving on to this man, Declan Rice. He returned today, the captain, the man of the people. Well, for me, the best player at the club. Give me an assessment on Declan Rice today.
Rice done well today. I do think those forward players, though, did give him a bit of a rough around because Rice usually is a very dominant, strong defensive midfielder. But today, I think sometimes he did get shrugged off a little bit every now and then from some of them players because they're quite good big players that I got up front. All of them are you, Mateo, Edouard, Benteke. They're all very big physical players, and I think Rice is better against the smaller players where he can just get his body into them and win the ball. No, don't get me wrong. I still thought he was very good today. His passing forward was great. Created the second goal, which was a fantastic goal from Lanzini that we'll talk about in a few minutes. Thought he done well. Thought he picked up the ball well. I think it was just a standard performance from Rice, really. Nothing special, like nothing bad. He was just a good player. Done well for us. Tough one for me. You don't do halves, do you?
No. Full marks, mate.
This fucking.
Do you want me to give him my mark?
Yeah, you give me. Yeah,
I'm going to give him an 8. He's come in.
I'll give him an 8.
All right, he's come in and he's done great today. He really has. What I like about him, how he dictates the play, picks the ball up, he finds the right passes, he sprays the passes left and right. Anyone who remembers Paul Scholes from back in the day, he reminds me of him all day long. really does. He picks them balls up and just sprays them all over the gaff. Very good, very composed, defensively very good. Helped out Issa and Dawson a hell of a lot. Like there was one time where a ball come in, he's like the third centre half near enough. He's a phenomenal talent. We've missed him, but please don't get suspended again because we need you for the rest of the season. Yeah, it's an 8 for me. What are you going with, Mitch?
8. I'll go 8 with you then.
Right, you're going for an 8. Let's move on to this man, Jared Bowen. Quiet today for me. Very, very quiet. Decent, good defensively. Quiet. What's your assessment, Mitch?
Yeah, thought you bang on. Thought he's growing this season a lot. I think he's gotten better and better as the season's gone on. And today was the first quiet one he's had, really. I think where he's actually not been too involved too much. Didn't get in great positions, really, for any chances. I don't think he'd done enough on the ball for me for him to have a really good effect on the game. But then again, I didn't think Coufal was great alongside him going forward. I think Coufal did hoof the ball up to him too much. And Coufal's crossing wasn't great either, as we said earlier. But it was a quiet one. The ball was mainly played on our left side, with all own players, and in the middle with Lanzini. And I think that's mostly the reason why I had a quiet game today. For me, Bowen, I think it's a 6 for me.
Do you know what? I agree. I think 6 is about where I'm at and all. I can't give him a 5. I really can't. The way he's been playing recently, I can't disrespect him like that and give him a 5 today, but I can't give him a 7 either. I thought if 6 is the easiest picking, this is the easiest one of the day for me, I think.
Yeah.
I agree. All our attacks went down the other side, but defensively he was very good, hard working. He does a job, Jared Bowen, and if he can have a poor game today, let's hope he's ready for the Leeds next week because we're going to need him when this man disappears.
I would have liked Fredericks to come on for him though in the second half. For us to go back to a back 5.
I don't understand why Benrahma was subbed and Bowen was on, but we're going to get to Benrahma now.
Especially since he's going to African Cup of Nations as well.
Yeah, this makes no sense to me. But first of all, what do you think of that ball he put in, Mitchell?
Oh, it was excellent, very good. And I don't think Benrahma's crossing is anywhere near one of his best things. I think that's something he needs to work on. But today, that cross was. I think it was. What game was it? He put a very similar cross in. I think it was at Villa actually.
Burnley last season, mate.
Burnley, yeah. That was it. Burnley, and it was a Clattenburg team, and very similar. And I think if he can whip those type of balls in instead of trying to whip in a very hard whipped in cross onto a player's head, which he's not great at, he's better kind of doing those ones in where you can try and get like a far post touch or because he can't really get much height on his crosses, and when he does, they loop straight over. But that ball was superb. I thought that was a superb ball. Put it on the plate. Any striker's dream. It was a tap in for Antonio. Done well in the game. Never really gave the ball away. For me, I still would like him to get stuck in a bit more. I still think he could get his body in. I think there's a lot of times there's 50-50s which go over and their players always win it, the opposition players. And I would like him to get stuck in a bit more, like how Bowen does. But it was a good performance from today. Good performance from Benrahma. I thought I'd like to give him, I think, a 7. I think a 7's fair for me.
I'm going to give him an 8. And the reason why I'm going to give him an 8, I think that ball is a world-class ball into Antonio. And Antonio always got to do is touch it in. It's a goal. I think he worked hard today down that side. And I don't think he done a lot wrong. He didn't really he helped Ben out in the first half. Second half, I think he realised that when he had half Masuaku one, it ain't going to work. But I think Benrahma, it's just an 8 for me. It ain't like a masterclass 8, but it's just an 8 for me. But I thought he was decent. I thought he'd done everything right, and that goal helped us because we were massively under it in the first 20 minutes of that game. We was all over the gaff, really. And we could have easily been 1 or 2-0 down. They hit the post, they hit the crossbar, they hit everything other than the net. So, I'm going to give him an 8. He deserves an 8. He's had a good Christmas period. He scored against Southampton, scored against Watford, and he's got assist against Palace. That's why I told everyone about Saeed Benrahma. That's what I'm going to say on that. Moving on to this man, Manuel Lanzini, which I think this is going to be the easiest rating of the evening. Take it away, Mitchell. Assess this man's performance.
Actually, I'll give the rating at the end. Yeah, I thought today he dropped deep to receive the ball, never gave the ball away, passed it about very well, turned well, picked up the ball, brought it forward well. The link-up play between him and Rice was exceptional. They had a real good chemistry today, didn't they? Like 1-2 passes on the same wavelength. It was a very good performance from him, and it's a different Lanzini. It's what we're used to. It's a very deeper role who will get forward every now and then and have a shot, and he's still got that shot on him. That's one thing he hasn't lost. He can still hit a fucking ball, which is great. He was so clean today. Link-up play with the left, the right, the centre. He kept us together. He joined us from midfield to attack all the time. Progressed us forward so well. And for me, he's my man of the match. He's got 2 goals. And for me, he gets a 9.
I'm giving him a 10 out of 10 today. I thought he was absolutely first class. That is the Manuel Lanzini.
Could be a 10 as well, yeah. Could have been a 9 or 10 for me.
The Manuel Lanzini, that's the Manuel Lanzini that I've always sort of known at West Ham. He turned up here from Saudi Arabia, I think it was, and he's just lit it up at West Ham for many years. He's had some bad games. The only difference is now is we don't know what Lanzini's going to turn up. In the space of 3 games over the Christmas period, he played against Southampton, which he was pretty bang average at best. Against Watford, he was decent, and today he was a masterclass. He was very, very good. To take the penalty is one thing, but to score that goal he scored is absolutely world class. That's a world class finish. If that's someone in the top 6 doing that, if that's Harry Kane doing that, we're hearing about it for about a year.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So to the 2 touch and then the 3rd touch bang is like, that's just magical, really.
It was.
I agree with what you said about Rice. I really do. I think they worked well together. I think their passing was good together. And the joy on his face when he scored that goal, that's why that man is in the thumbnail, because he always loves to score against Palace and all. He's always a good little punt to have against Palace, because he just loves the London derby, as they said on commentary today.
My old man said the exact same thing. So why not put a fucking bet on for Lanzini to stay in West Ham to win?
Because he does it every single time in the London derby. Every single time. 10 out of 10. Mitch, are you going to change it, or are you going to go with a 9?
I don't like to give any players a 10, because I always think any player can improve on something. To be fair, there's not much he could improve on today, but I don't like throwing around 10s. I think 10, he could get a 10 though. It's one of those ones for me, but I don't know. I like being negative, so I'm going to go 9. But one thing I will say about Lanzini as well, which I love and have always loved about him, he doesn't try and force anything. If there's a ball, if there's a player, if there's a chance for him to whip the ball in, but it's a half chance, a lot of players do it all the time, and they'll just cross the ball in and have a chance. If Lanzini don't think he can put a good ball in, and it's not a chance where he thinks it's a great opportunity, he'll keep the play going and then try and cut open the team. He won't force anything, and he never ever he never hoofs it. He always tries to keep it on the floor and play out from the back, as does Rice. And that is so key for our attacks, because there's too many players in this team to get the ball and just go brain dead and hoof it. Soucek, Coufal, Dawson, Diop. It does wind me up a lot, but Lanzini never does that, and that is so important.
I agree, mate. I agree. Danny says he comes from the UAE. That's where he comes from. I remember that, man. Yeah. Moving on to this man, Mikel Antonio. My chat box has just gone up about 10, because they know that we're getting to Antonio now. I thought he was decent today. I thought he was decent. I will say one thing: when he stays in front of the goal, before I hand it over to you, Mitch, when he stays in front of the goal, he's not a bad striker. When he starts drifting left, right, and having shots from miles out and hitting stewards in Rosette, he's a poor player, in my opinion. Give me your assessment on Mikel Antonio's performance today, Mitchell.
I think he stayed more disciplined. He was more disciplined striker today. I don't think he drifted off as much. He stayed central a lot. He didn't try anything. He didn't try baiting men. He didn't try getting in behind, try anything special. He stayed in his position quite well. I like
Yeah.
that, and I think that's what you got to do, because if you do that, then there's no fucking about. If Antonio whips a ball in, there's never a chance. How many times does Antonio whip a ball in and we score from it? It's like
Mm.
it never happens. I think the one and only time it's ever happened, I think it was Antonio crossed it in to Benrahma at the start of the season.
Mm.
Um, but besides from that, it just don't work. And I think him and staying central is so important. I don't mind the midfielders switching up, but I tell you what, I did like today. There was no rotation between the wingers or midfielders like we usually do, and that worked. I thought that really worked. I think
Mm.
Benrahma sticking to the left, Lanzini sticking in the middle, and Bowen sticking on the right, and Antonio staying in up to top really worked. And I think the players knew where each other were, and I hope we do keep doing that. I thought Antonio did all right. I did think he was great. I thought his first touch was very bad. A lot of times that it came over to him and he controlled it very poorly,
Mm.
and which ended up in, because I thought their midfielders were really deep today. As soon as
Mm.
like the balls came over the top and Antonio tried to hold it up, Will Hughes or the other bloke like Schlapp would just be on him straight away. Um, I think he's done well. I thought he'd done all right. Scored the goal. It's a tough one for me because I'm not Antonio's biggest fan. His touch still does wind me up. Did play good through ball to Bowen actually in the first half as well. I think it's 7. I think it's 7 for me.
Mm. I'm going to give him an 8 because it's better. That's the only reason why I'm going to give him an 8 on this, is because it's better than what I've seen recently over the last sort of 6 games.
Mm.
He scored against Southampton. He didn't score against Watford. He scores today, so he's back. He's back in the getting the goals again, which is good. This is good news for us as fans.
It's
Like, that's
good.
what we want to see, right? I thought the goal was a tap in, but the ball is a peach. But he's there. He's in the right place. He's reading the game.
Yeah.
Good goal. I thought he was a nuisance for their centre halves. He didn't drift left and right. And one thing you've just said, which I make you absolutely bang on the money with, a lot of our players stayed in their positions today throughout the game. No one swapped over and always swapping and interchanging and all that. And when we was out of possession today, we played a 4-4-2 system. So when we was pressing, we was playing 4-4-2.
Mm.
And Lanzini was playing like as like a sort of like number 10 basically in behind Antonio with 2 left and right wingers. Yeah, I'm gonna give him an 8. I think he deserves an 8. I still want to see a bit more from him, like as a striker, so to speak, because he's our striker and he's got to be that presence. But he was a presence today. He got the goal to get us on the road, and he deserves an 8 from me. He really does. Moving on to this man, Arthur. I can't defend to save my life, Masuaku. In 45 minutes, Mitch,
Mm.
he's on the pitch. We can see 2 goals, and they're back down his side. What is going on? And he got booked. Tell me anything positive he done today.
No, I actually quite disagree with you for this. I thought he started very well. I thought he put in a lot of tackles. He had the most tackles on our team today, and I know it don't say too much because obviously our
Right.
defenders weren't great, but he did put in a lot of tackles and he did go in too hard. I think today. I think there was times where he committed, and he done well. I thought he coped all right, to be honest.
Did
Nothing
he
really
cope all
dangered
right though,
us
Mitch? But did he
until
cope
Elise
all?
came on. Until
Yeah.
Elise came on.
Did he cope
Uh,
all right, or was it that Palace weren't doing anything? But they had all the ball, they had all the pressure, and
No, I do
yeah,
think he did. I thought he won. I thought he won the ball a lot because, as I say, he had 6 tackles and look, he did win the
mm,
ball comfortably. As soon as he came on, I thought he'd done well. And I've seen it all over my Twitter feed. Like Masuaku started off really well, and I think he has done quite well actually. And I cannot stand Masuaku. If I
mm,
could, I'd sell him tomorrow for like 2 million
yeah,
or on free. But I think credit where credit's due. I think the start of the second half, I thought he'd done all right. When Elise came on, that's when he struggled. That's when he cut him open. He had to pull him back. Done the exact same thing again. Pulled him back. And he got a yellow card. I don't think any of the goals were directly his fault. But again, it wasn't a great defensive display as the game went on from him. Going forward wasn't great either. Yeah, it was just, but I wasn't
it was
impressed at
just an
all.
Arthur Masuaku performance.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it was. What do you reckon, Mitch? Give me a rating.
Um, I don't know. I think this is a really tough one. I think if you're going to be really extreme, I think you could give him a 3 or 4. But if I'm trying to look at, I'm trying to think. I think a 5 is fair. If I'm being honest, I think if I'm trying to be fair, he won the ball quite a few times, and other times he didn't, which I think is more looked upon because we know he's an awful defender.
Mm.
Which is for me, I think why I think a 5 is fair for me.
I cannot give this man a 5, I'm afraid, mate. I really can't. I understand what you're saying, but he's put in the most tackles, but he got booked, and then he nearly thought about
But so
bringing
did
him down
Johnson.
again.
So did Johnson.
Yeah, but Johnson didn't concede 2 goals in the first half, Mitch, down his
none of
side.
them are directly from Masuaku's fault, though, was they, really?
I think the first one is, I think, why is Vlasic there when Vlasic is there in front of him? He should be the defender. That's what he should be doing.
But Johnson did struggle with that in the first half. Benrahma had to keep dropping deep, and they had 3 players. They had the right side of midfielder, the right back, and right winger going down that side, which is why there was a lot of space for them in the first half. I think that is why.
I just don't think he's I understand what you're saying, but I look at him today. I think he comes on the pitch for 45 minutes. We can see 2 goals, and we could have ended up drawing or losing that game if that game lasted longer. I'm not saying it was all his fault because we had 2 centre halves who couldn't defend either, but he didn't help the situation. He'll get the ball. What it is with Arthur Masuaku, he does the same thing over and over again, and he'll get the ball, pick the ball up, run forward, doesn't cross a ball in, he checks back and passes it back or sideways. That's what he does every single time. I can't give him a 5. I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him a 3. And that's being kind.
Yeah, mate, that's harsh. I think that's harsh.
He's got booked. He nearly got sent off. Because he thought about pulling him back. I thought, please don't pull him back, because then if you do that, you're going to get sent off, and then we're going to be down to 10 men. I'm sorry, but I don't want him at this club anymore. That's not an agenda. That's a fact. He's been here 6 years. The only time he's ever got anything on target is when he spat at the Wigan player in 2018. I think it was. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's time. Thanks for the memories, Arthur. We love you for what you've done. It ain't a lot, but we love you for what you've done, mate. But it's time to go, I'm afraid.
His best spell was when Moyes first came in and we played the 5 at the back. Yeah. And we had an Arnautovic there. That was his best time he had for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, me, he can get the fuck out now.
I'm not being funny enough. When you've got people like Longello, who's a youngster who can defend better than him, and he's been here
exactly
a long time.
Frederick's on the left side. I would have preferred.
Then yeah, like for me, I'm sorry, but he's polarising with Masuaku. You like him for the fancy footwork, but I want my left back to be able to defend before he goes forward. Do you know what I mean? We don't ask our defenders to attack. Do you know what I mean? We ask him to defend first.
And
he's
not even that good going forward. I think him going forward and being a good winger, I think that's a myth as well.
Yeah.
Just because he's got quick feet doesn't mean you're great forward, does it?
Nah, not at all, mate. Not at all. Moving on to this man. He come on for Benrahma on the famous 70th minute. Every 70th minute of every game, Benny goes and he comes. What did you think of his 20-minute spell? He's at fault for the first goal. I know that.
Yeah, could defend it better, I thought.
Yeah.
I think Vlasic is growing very slowly, but I think he's growing. If I'm being honest, I think even like a couple of weeks ago, I don't think he was good enough. He's starting to prove me wrong, but he still needs to show a bit more for me for him to become a Premier League starter each game. Because if you paid that sort of money, 34 million, he's our most expensive winger. He's our most expensive forward, even. So he's got to be showing a bit more for it, in my opinion. I thought when he came on, though, I thought he drove at the defences quite well. There was one time he drove quite well, got into a dangerous area, created a good chance, and I thought that was quite good. Hustled and bustled a bit. I don't think he done too bad. Again, it's a tough one. I don't think done anything great. Obviously, he was at fault for the first goal. It's a tough one for me to give him a 5 or 6. I think. I don't know. I think a 5. I think 5 for substitution late on. I think a 5's fair for me.
I'm going to agree with you, mate. A 5 for me. I think it's a 6. If he shuts down that Palace attacker, For the first goal, I think I'll give him a 6. I thought he looked all right. I think he come on, he drove into the box. He's like a unit going through in the box. And I'm not his biggest fan either. And I'll be the first one to sort of think if he didn't perform, I'd say. But I've got to give credit where credit's due. He come on, he looked lively. But on that first goal, if you watch it back tonight on Match of the Day or whatever, or any other platform you watch it, that first goal, he should be closer to that player. He's miles away from that the person crossing the ball in. I think it's Elise, I think it is. And it puts the ball in and it's a goal. And you can't be that far away and allow him to take the cross. So, yeah, a 5 for me. Where is he? This man, come on. Done a job, Mitch. We make this one pretty short and sweet.
I thought it was unbelievable today, mate. I thought it was incredible.
Do you know what? One thing I will say, and people said about Crowell, I think it was the right call to bring him on because he's the captain and he knows his experience will get us through. He shouldn't have been coming on, really. Like, we should have been comfortable and we should have had other players coming on, like maybe Oko Flex in the second half or something. But he come on. Pretty simple for me. A solid 5 for the time he was on. Give me a rating, Mitch. Anyone you like.
5, yeah.
Yeah.
5 is average, bang in the middle. Actually, I did say I thought when we went 3-0 up, I said we could have brought Fredericks on for Bowen, go to back 5, or even play a 3-man midfield and play a left-sided central midfielder to help with the left back cope on that right side. Because there were so many times they just overlooked. They got their right back, right winger, and the right sided midfielder down the channels, and that's where all the danger was from all day. I would have liked to have seen Crowell come on in like a 3-sided midfield with Soucek and Rice, and then probably put him central, and then Rice on the left of the side of the central midfield 3, so that he could have defended a lot better against those wingers, which is where all the goals were created from. And I did say that. I said we should have done that because we got our 3 goals. We need to protect the lead. We were struggling defensively. And for me, I think, and I keep saying this about Moyes, I do love Moyes, but he's got to be more proactive and less reactive. He's got to start moving players into positions. Because I think we could all see it. We could all see there was a big problem coming down the left. And when he took Johnson off and brought Masuaku on, and there's still a big danger going on, you think, okay, come on. Like, you got to back him up. You got to back him up. So that's why I thought you should have brought on a left-sided central midfielder like Crowell or Rice to put him in that position and swap over so he could have defended better.
I agree. But we'll get to Moyes shortly. Moving on to this man, the referee, Mitch, gave us a penalty. It's 100% a penalty. Yeah.
A lot of people saying it wasn't. I think it was a pen.
It's 100% a penalty. He's out of control. Well, not out of control, but his arm is out of control. He's like, and let's be honest, we've been given penalties against us for less, right? Yeah. I think he was okay today, the ref, I must admit. He booked Masuaku, he was right, he pulled him back. Yeah. I think he booked Soucek, I think it was. There was someone else he booked. Oh, Johnson. He booked Johnson.
That was a fair one as well. Yeah.
Fair one again. I think he was okay. I'll give him a 6. I think he was okay.
I think the only thing I could say as well, there was a time where we could have had a free kick in a decent position, and he chose us to play on when we was playing really deep, and I didn't get that.
Yeah.
I said, why has he not stopped the play there? Like, that would have been a better chance. And then we played it back, went back to the goalkeeper, and I thought, what the fuck? That should have been a free kick there.
Yeah.
Like, it was a decent position. We passed it back. The advantage was still on because he still had his arms out, and the advantage still plays on for, like, I don't know, what is it, 6 seconds or whatever, 10 seconds. I think that should have been pulled back. Besides from that, I actually thought it was good. I thought he'd done well.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. I thought the ref was good today. Fair, didn't give anything that was harsh. Play go well. Gave yellow cards that were yellow cards. They weren't soft or hard. They were just yellows. I think an 8 for me. An 8. I thought he done well today. The ref. I thought he done well.
8 for Mitchell. Final rating of the evening is this man, David Moyes. First of all, Mitch, I'm going to ask you a few questions. The lineup, was you happy with it from him?
Yeah, was bang on. Yeah, nothing else you could have changed really. If Ben
And
Johnson has got a knock for next game,
yeah,
which is fifth, I don't know if that's a load of bullshit or whatever. Then I'd like to see Longello come in at left back. But I
mm,
was happy with the lineup. I thought you couldn't have changed anything. I thought it was bang on. Yeah.
yeah. And at half time, if Ben Johnson hasn't got an injury, he's come off basically because of a booking.
Mm.
Was that a bad move from Moyes? Deep down,
Yeah.
I know you
Yeah.
say about Masuaku, and me and you have had little bits of disagreement on that tonight. But would you say that that was a massive blunder there to bring him on when you could have brought someone else on and maybe
Or
changed it around a bit?
if you're going to bring him on, I would have brought him and Fredericks on, took
Mm,
Bowen off, and then played the back five. We were 3-0 up, mate. We weren't chasing the game. We were 3-0
yeah,
up. Like, it's a big lead. We didn't need to
yeah,
score anymore. Keep possession of the ball, protect the lead. If you're going to bring Masuaku on, when there's a big threat already down the right hand side, then you need to either go to back five or cover him with an extra man in midfield to drop deeper like
mm,
Farrell Rice to play in that position.
mm,
And I keep going back to Moyes not being proactive enough for me, and more reactive. I think he should have done better with. If he actually thought about it, yeah. But he's got a whole coaching staff with him there. I don't see how, in his right mind, he can
mm.
think that was a good decision. I really don't get that without protecting him because there was so much threat coming down the right, and that's where they scored the two fucking goals from. That really wound me up. Actually,
Let me
the more I
ask you
think
this.
about it, it winds me.
Let me ask you this, Mitch, before I get your rating.
Mm.
All right, what would you give Moyes if we would have drew that game 3-3?
I would have given him a good lineup first. The lineup probably warrants. If we won that game 3-0 and it was a good lineup,
Mm,
it was the perfect lineup for me. Probably like played well, probably like a 7 or 8. But now,
yeah,
if we was to draw 3-3, and we've thrown that big chance away, probably a 3, mate, 3 or 4.
yeah. So it's
Yeah,
massive, isn't it? Really, when you think about it,
yeah,
the way that decision could have really cost us the game, even though we got away with it today. Um, I agree with you there. I think if we win that game 3-0, we see that game out,
mm.
I'm giving him an 8 or 9. I think it's a masterclass what he's done. Gone there, picked the right team, shut up shop, 1-3-0, out we go.
Perfect. Yeah,
To bring Arthur on at half time, and we've seen Arthur play a lot of games over the Christmas period, so to speak, and we all know that he can't defend, right? And you know that Palace are going to come, right? They're gonna throw absolutely everything at us. I thought was criminal in a way. I thought that you're just asking for us to sort of suffer as fans, so to speak.
yeah. It
Do
was
you know what I mean?
really bad from Moyes
Do
there.
you know
Yeah,
what I
really
mean?
bad.
Give me a rating for Moyes, Mitch.
We've won the game still.
Mm,
The game plan worked. We didn't do any rotation today, and I believe it's got something to do with Moyes, and that
mm,
did work. The fact that no one was rotating, I did like that.
yeah.
It's a tough one for me. Again, another tough one. All these ratings tonight for me, I find quite tough because there's so many different variables of what could have happened, what did happen, and what should have been changed, as we talked about.
Mm.
For me, oh man, it's tough. I think maybe 5. I'm
I'm,
gonna be honest. 5. I think a 5 for me personally.
mm, I'm going to give him a 6. It's just a
I was
6.
thinking 5 or 6. I was really.
Yeah. It's just a 6 for me. For the simple fact of the matter is, we've got the win, and the lineup, the first half performance. He wasn't happy with his interview. Like anyone who's watched his interview, he weren't happy. He said we
He's
played
to fucking blame though. I didn't watch the interview
yeah,
because
yeah. In the first half, Palace were in the first 20 minutes of that game. Palace were all over us, and we just couldn't get out. Like we got lucky, to get the goal. Like we got the first goal, then we hit him again straight after, and the goals come at the right time. Do you know what I mean? Score one, score another
yeah,
one. We nicked a penalty just before half time. And let's be honest, if we'd have went in at half time 2-0 up, then it would have been we've done okay to get that 2-0. To go 3-0 up was like dreamland. Right? Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And the scoreline sort of flattered us a little bit, so to speak. But Palace in the first 20 minutes, they hit the post, Edouard hit the crossbar, Fabianski was making save after save against Benteke. He gets a 6 for me. The Arthur Masuaku at left back has got to stop. Right, we all know he can't defend. Right, I'm not. It's not an agenda against Arthur Masuaku, but he has been here nearly 7 years now. I think he arrived in 2015, like under Bilic, and he's now
Still in it.
2022. It's mad, and yeah, we need a left back in the club.
It's the only way. The only way he could possibly play is against a really shit team in the cup, or as in a back five. That's the only way he could possibly play. And even a back five's pushing it because I don't think he's good enough even then.
Yeah, I agree.
Longello's sitting there. He's done well in the cup in the Europa League. He looks our best player for me. He's a player that's got to be knocking the door. He's not too young. I think he's like 20 now as well, Longello. So maybe that's an age where you could be looking at him now.
See, this is what I don't understand before we sort of come to the end, right? When it comes to Longello, right? Longello's like young, raw, fresh, and he defends better than Arthur does. And Arthur's 27, I think, 28. He's been here 5, 6, 7 years, or however long he's been here. I think 2015 he was here. And I've said this on my afterthought. I can't remember the last time Arthur had a really, really good game. Like a game where I could go, you know what, he was brilliant.
Maybe I'm joking. Maybe like years ago, maybe actually years ago.
So,
if a player hasn't played well in years, and your manager's still playing him over a promising young fullback that has played one game good, and his only game in his senior squad that he's played good, and Masuaku hasn't played one good game in years.
Yeah. And
makes no fucking sense, does it?
It don't really, mate, if I'm honest. And when you look at it with the Yarmolenko situation, people say we want Yarmolenko out, which I make them right. No one really says that about Arthur. No one looks at him and goes, you know what? Yeah, we need to get rid of Arthur. Like, it says it all. Like, on the left-hand side, since Cresswell's gone, we've been all over the place left-hand side. And the goals have been coming down that left-hand side, quite a lot of them. So we've got to adjust that in the window, which is now. The window is now open. And hopefully we'll get some players.
Don't we get started on window, mate? I'm furious that we haven't got targets open already and how we've not negotiated. Everton have already signed and agreed the first signing already. And they know they've got problems and they've addressed it. We are in a great position now to push on. And we know the problems we've got defensively. And we have not opened up any pre-negotiations or targets. And Moyes has even come out and said that. And that absolutely infuriated me the other day. Yeah. I'm still furious about it.
How many players do you reckon we signed before we go, Mitch, in this January window?
I think we'll sign 2. What we need is 3 or 4 minimum for me. But I think knowing the fact that Moyes has even come out and said this bollocks on the interview, which has really wound me up. For me, I can only see 2. I think 2.
Yeah. And what positions are them 2 players?
I think we will get in a striker and a
centre half.
A centre half, I think we will. Yeah, I don't think we'll get in left back. I think Moyes licks Masuaku's bumhole too much.
Yeah. If he don't find a left back on this planet that can come to this club, a Premier League top 5 club at the minute, 'cause that's where we are. We're 5th in the league. We're in the last 16 of the Europa League. All right, we are massive, and we can't find a left back on this planet, then there is something drastically wrong.
There's so many.
There's players out there who are in the Championship who can defend better.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
I'd say 90% of the Championship defenders in left back in Championship could defend better than them.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you, mate. I really do.
And 90% of them you could sign for less than 2 million.
And final question, Mitch. This is the final one there. Do we make a signing before Leeds next Sunday?
I don't think we will now. The fact that Moyes even come out and said about this in the interview. Do we need one? Yeah. We had 2 before that game.
Yeah.
Honestly, centre back and left back. But I can't see us being in 2 defenders in January. Maybe a left-footed left back that's maybe slightly smaller, like a 5'10" left, like centre half, like is left-footed, that could possibly play left back, like an Ake, who's played left back before for Bournemouth. That sort of player, I think would do well. I think that's the kind of player. Because then, if he did sign that kind of player, and then Cresswell came back, then he could go straight in centre half, and then he could cover left back for when until Cresswell is back. So for me, that's an ideal signing. If the budget is a problem, which it probably still will be, if I'm Moyes, I'll be looking at those kind of players. Those players that can play centre back, left back. I know there's a player been linked to recently. I forgot his name. He's quite young though. Promising. He's like 6'2", centre half that has been playing left back this season. He plays for Bournemouth. He's English. Forgot his name.
Lloyd Kelly.
Yes, Lloyd Kelly.
Yeah, that's the man.
Him. Then if he's doing well, which I've heard he's doing really well for Bournemouth this season.
Yeah,
I've heard he's done well. Then why not? Why not get him on loan? Why not get him on loan for second season? Or I reckon we
just get a left back.
Yeah, mate.
Just sign a left back.
I'm just trying to think, like, with the brain, like the budget wise. I'm just trying to think, if we are tight.
Well, the thing about the budget, right, and this is the thing that infuriates me, right? We're fifth in the league, right, and as I just said, we're on a crest of a wave at the minute, right? Because West Ham don't do this. Right? Anyone who's watching West Ham over the last couple of years, I've watched West Ham all my life. I've never seen West Ham this good, and we've got to embrace this now, right?
Yeah.
And you look at Arsenal.
Europa League.
Yeah, you look at Arsenal. They spend 130 million, right, and they are where they are because they're starting to develop into a team. West Ham have got players in this team who are blagging a living. Like, they really are blagging a living. Like Yarmolenko. I don't like to say it, but Ryan Fredericks. I'm sorry, we've got 4 right backs at the club. We don't need 4 right backs. Like, you've got Ben Johnson,
Ashby.
Ashby. I'm not being funny. Ashby is going to be a phenomenally good player in the future. He really is. I think he's a decent player now, but give him game time. Could he do a better job than Fredericks? I think he could. So,
mate,
yeah,
Coufal needs knocking the door at the minute. I don't think he's been good enough this season, and I think Ashby could be knocking his door. Yeah,
and I look at it like this: we need to go out this January, because we said this last January. Right, we need a striker. We need this. We brought in Jesse Lingard, and let's be honest, as fans, we didn't realise how good Jesse Lingard was going to be for West Ham. Unless Moyes goes and pull, we sold Haller, and we still haven't replaced Haller yet, right, with a striker. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of in-house stuff, and as I said on my afterthought, and I'll say it on this before we wrap, our owners have got to start putting their hands in their pockets, all of them, not just Daniel, not just the new investor. The other lot have got to do it and all, because because you, Mitch, and I'll use you as an example. You go home and away, you travel everywhere to watch this team. You pay your money to watch this team through thick and thin. It's about time they started giving back to the fans. Do you know what I mean? And they have to start giving back to the fans. The fans,
100%.
Us fans, deserve some sort of success this year. And success to me means either winning something or getting to a final or something. Do you know what I mean?
The pain we've been through in the last few years, it's so deserved. Yeah, and we need to embrace it and go out and get a left back and a striker. Do you know what I mean? We can't be that skint, right? Mate, a striker, a left back, a centre half, and an attacking midfielder / winger. For me, a winger.
I think if we got a left back, a striker, and a centre half, I'd be happy with that.
Oh, I'd be happy with that. I would.
Yeah, I'll be like, the left back is sorted out. We've got a striker to cover Antonio if he's out of form, and we've got a good centre half. But if we're going to go and pay for a centre half, go and get someone who can partner with Zuma next season. That's what I want to see, because I think everyone gets a bit sentimental with Obona. They go,
he's losing it slightly this season.
Yeah, but Obona's getting older. He can't.
Yeah, slower. He's getting slower.
The time he comes back and plays for West Ham again, he'll be 35.
Right? And he'll have an extra injury on his list.
Can have an extra injury on his list. So we need to have people that can sort of, someone who goes with Zuma, and that's your plan. Like, you keep Declan Rice, you keep Bowen, you build the team around these players. But
look where we are on the table now. We've got Europa. We're in London as well. Our budget ain't terrible. It ain't like terrible. There's surely players we can get. And what winds me up is I think sometimes our fan base forget where we are right now. I put like some transfer targets up on my Twitter last week, and like I said, we would never get him. I said, but mate, not being funny, we're in Europa League. We're doing well. We're doing well this season, and we would give you good wages. We're in the Premier League. We're in London as well. There's a lot of things going for us, and I wouldn't normally say that about West Ham, but there is a lot of things going for us at the minute. So why not be outgoing? Look at Arsenal. Look at the players they're targeting. They're targeting big names, and they're like one position above us, and they haven't got Europa League.
The problem is with Arsenal, there's two things with Arsenal. Well, Arsenal are doing well this year. They've spent a lot of money in that window. That's helped them. They've brought in a good Tommy Asu, who we got linked with, but we, again, didn't pay the money. He's playing very well for Arsenal.
I like Tommy Asu.
They've signed £130 million worth of talent. And let's be honest, when in our summer window, we've signed Zuma, who's a great signing. We've signed Vlasic, who's a potential, but it's not ready yet. We've signed Crowell, who don't play hardly ever. And we've signed Areola, who only plays in cup games. Like, it's not exactly mind-blowing signings, is it? And I'm not saying West Ham to go and put West Ham into debt. I'm not saying that. But when I keep hearing this crap on different platforms and different people, and people who say that like these transfer targets and all that, I'm sorry, but I don't want to be rude when I say this, but we need players at this club now, not a year down the road. We need them right now, because West Ham this won't last.
Not 50-50 players from fucking Russia.
Yeah, like you can't go and get players like for the future when our future is now. Because let's be honest, we're 1 point from fourth. We can get fourth, but we've got to invest, and it's all about the pound note at the end of the day. If we don't invest, then how are we supposed to? If we don't invest, how are we supposed to progress, so to speak?
Yes, I like that.
Do you know what I mean? So it is what it is. We will see, though. Anyway, Mitchell, thank you very much for joining me tonight, mate, on this player ratings. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate. You're welcome here anytime. Thanks for everyone who's tuned in tonight. It's first 45 was masterclass. Second 45 was shambolic, in my opinion. But we got the W, we got the win. We rolled on out to Leeds next week at home. Big game, FA Cup. FA Cup.
I can't do him. Can't stand him.
Yeah, and we've got them at 2 weeks on the trot and all, so even better. So yeah, let's hope for a cup win next week. Anyway, that's enough from me. Take care of yourselves. All the best, and Happy New Year from me and Mitchell. All the best.
Happy New Year.
Bye for now.